The 1920s was characterized by a cultural boom and is now known as the Roaring Twenties. As Gatsby tells us, the parties were bigger, the pace was faster, the shows were broader, the buildings were higher, the morals were looser, and the liquor was cheaper.
In the 1920s, the 18th Amendment was passed and alcohol was now prohibited. However, this did not keep people from consuming liquor, but rather encouraged it due to the lack of taxes on the commodity. Alcohol was now cheaper, and many people now partook in the activities centered in the consumption of alcohol.
In the year 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt legalized alcohol, fueling the economy through the implication of taxes.
Through the growing prosperity of America in the 1920s, especially in the North, African Americans from the South, farmers, and Europeans, predominantly Irish and Germans, migrated in search of opportunity and a new way of life.
Due to this rapid migration, individuals suffered from poor housing conditions, forced into living in slums that became a hub for disease. Jane Addams and many other influential progressives started forming housing, such as Hull House, that helped the migrants get relief from this predicament.
Not everyone supported migrants and their decision to provide for their families, giving rise to the Know Nothing Party, which reinforced the ideals put forth by nativism. Through this ideal, natives took to the streets to protest the migrations. Some examples, such as the Tulsa Race Riot and the Coe Massacre, exemplify the defiance of natives toward African Americans and immigrants coming to the North in search of better opportunities.
Among the many riots through the 1920s, the different activist groups joined forces to pursue independence and equality.
The Harlem Renaissance was characterized by the growing influence of jazz, with musicians such as Louis Armstrong and Frank Sinatra, and writers such as Langston Hughes. The 20s found its place as a cultural identity in American society.
The time period was also an innovative milestone for America, with innovations such as the Band-Aid, the first U.S. radio station, and the convertible.
Leisure was a prominent necessity in the 1920s, where Americans had more time and money to spend on new kinds of public amusements, like dance halls, movie theaters, and baseball stadiums, especially post-World War I.
The 1920s was an influential decade in women's suffrage, as women began to have a voice and grow away from the cult of domesticity. Through new styles of dress, appearance, and role in society, women began to change the stereotypes against them. After the 19th Amendment was passed, women gained greater independence through the right to vote in society.
After this period of growth, with an enormous economic boom, there came a bust of economic depression with the transition of Hoover to Franklin Roosevelt in presidency in 1929 after the stock market crash, leaving many people homeless and living in shanty houses or squatter settlements.